I was married to first wife for about 9.5 years when I joined the local sheriff's office as a deputy. I was attending the academy. I was at home more often than usual, as classes were only from 8 to 5 during the week. I finished the academy and returned to shift work at the local jail, night shift, 12-hour shifts. 2 months later I got a weird feeling that something wasn't right. My wife kept spending time with pastor's wife sewing and crafting. I was off duty and have to change my sleep schedule. I'd go to bed with wife, but couldn't sleep. I went to restroom and saw a text on her phone at midnight. It was the pastor. Thinking it must have been an emergency, I picked it up and read it. It read, "Good night, my love." I was floored, tried to find other texts but she had deleted them. If it was innocent, the older texts would have been saved. I woke her up at 1 a.m. to ask WTF? She basically said it must be a typo, and why I was snooping. She turned tables on me and got defensive, kicked me out of our bedroom for a month and a half. I thought I had screwed up. I was so stressed I lost 35 pounds in a month, couldn't eat, sleep, a real basket case. I got us counseling, recommended by the pastor. She had me apologizing to him for even thinking that anything was going on between them. She wouldn't talk to counselor, except for quoting Bible verses. She tried to play the holier than thou. After the month and a half of this I saw her diary out unguarded. She had been so guarded of it in her phone since it all hit the fan. I read how she and him were in love and had to sneak around to be together, and that his wife knew. I calmly went to her and said, "You were right for hiding your diary from me, I just read it." Her jaw hit the floor, suddenly got all apologetic. She said, "I never meant it to go this far, I never meant to hurt you. Call him now, I want to talk to him." She called and I demanded to meet him in the morning. I did at a local fast food restaurant. I walked in with my phone in my pocket on record. I recorded our conversation, legal where I live. He admitted to the inappropriate relationship. He was such a hypocrite. He regularly preached against infidelity, and how he wouldn't counsel a woman alone due to people thinking the wrong thing. I let him speak enough to give me evidence. I was livid, hardest thing I ever had to do. I tried even harder to keep my marriage together, but I'm pretty sure the cheating continued. I moved out to keep my job safe so there wouldn't be any way she could lie and try to start a domestic violence issue and I'd lose my job. People at church asked her where I was for weeks. She lied and said I was working. They contacted me and I wouldn't lie for them. It took a while but it all came out and he left the church he founded 25 years ago, and started working in fast food in his mid-50s. It took years for me to finally get over it, but it's messed me up as far as trusting people, especially preachers. Posting this not to be malicious, just sharing for others to read and hope it helps in some way for others going through same. Here is the second story. Let me paint the picture. My husband and I have been together for 19 years. He was my very first boyfriend at 18 years old, and we lost our virginity to each other. We were inseparable and a model of love and a healthy relationship to our friends. About 5 years ago, I gave birth to our son after years of infertility. It was truly a miracle. This is when things got difficult. My husband was now the breadwinner as I began my new role as a mom. When my son was a year old, I experienced a miscarriage. This was right after I stopped breastfeeding and my hormones were a wreck and depression was really sinking in. My husband felt I was pulling away from him, and started investigating. For the next 3 years, he accused me of cheating on him with all our guy friends. Then he thought I had a boyfriend. His thoughts morphed into thinking I was a prostitute, entertaining men during nap time. He set up hidden cameras and recording devices around the house to catch me. I felt so much pity for my husband. I encouraged him to go to therapy because his ability to thinking rationally seemed compromised. We tried couples counseling but the accusations continued. The emotional abuse continued. Intimacy was strained because he was looking at me like a slut, but felt like I had to please him to help him feel better. Last year I listened to my gut, and I did not sleep with him for about a month. My depression was at its worst, and I was starting Lexapro. At a small get-together with friends, my husband went on a walk with my best friend, the wife of his best friend. They have an open relationship, and it was overheard that she was telling my husband that humans are not meant to be monogamous. I noticed her touching his knee too comfortably, and I felt like vomiting. They planned a game night, and my husband planned to spend the night. Since the game was so long and boring, I wasn't invited. I am not stupid. My husband was too excited about this night and had really been looking forward to it. Right before he left, I asked him not to sleep with her. He seemed shocked and flabbergasted that I would even mention something so wild. I told him if I didn't say it I would regret it later. Even while I was showing apprehension, he still left. He returned the next day, and after being awkward for hours, He finally told me what happened. This almost 40-year-old tells me he hooked up with her. Using such casual language when up to this point we had only ever had sex with each other. I have since moved out, but he is determined to win me back. I am not sure I could endure more of this toxic relationship. The next chapter is very scary. I have never dated another person in my life, but even being alone has to be better than this kind of emotional abuse. My parents want me to work it out with him. My friends are supportive of me and happy I finally left. Healing can be lonely and scary, but I am hoping for a better future for me and my son. Here is some best comment. Our husband is shitty. If you or he wanted to be in an open relationship, I don't fault you. However, he is giving ethical non-monogamy a bad rap. You explicitly told him not to and then he did. That is the most bullshit ever. My personal thoughts are that he wanted to find out you were cheating. He may not have been cheating, but it would give him absolution for what he did or wanted to do. I say that as someone who has done dumb shit. I've looked through a now ex's phone and tried to find something to no fruit. Why? What did I want to find? The answer was absolution of guilt. We weren't having sex overly and I am a very sexual person. I'd wanted to break up but was too much a coward and didn't want to hurt her. If she cheated then congrats, no bad guy here, just doing the right thing. I was shitty and I know that. I don't have an excuse other than I was shit and insecure. He did the same, I wager. If you want to make it work I won't fault you, but he has significant toxic traits. Maybe it means time apart. Or open relationship. Do what works for you. Thank you for sharing your story. It will get better. There are less shitty people out there and also you don't need people either. You do what you need to do for you and your family. It's okay if you and your husband aren't meant for one another. You tried. I don't fault that at all. I don't fault you for wanting to stay either if you did or do that. I have such a strong respect for you given how you confronted him and he still went and did exactly that. He's shit and is the reason why people who actually practice consensual non-monogamy get a bad rap. Fuck him. You matter. Have some time apart. Grow. Become different. Get happy. Have loads of sex. Have none. Whatever you want, just try to be safe. You're still young and vibrant and deserving. Wishing you all the best. You got this.